Gentleman from New Jersey is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong opposition to H.R. 7176. This bill is nothing more than a handout to big oil and gas that will enrich our adversaries, including China, and force American families to pay the price with higher energy bills. It removes a requirement that the Department of Energy first determine liquefied natural gas exports to be in the public interest before approving export applications. And this defies logic. The Republican bill assumes that all LNG exports are automatically in the public interest. And this is utterly absurd, considering there's widespread consensus among researchers and economists that increasing LNG exports directly leads to higher natural gas prices here at home. Americans know this reality all too well because they have felt it firsthand. Our LNG exports quadrupled over the last 5 years, and during that same time, in 2022, natural gas prices more than tripled. Make no mistake, if this bill ever becomes law, Americans would pay more for the gas that heats their homes and keeps their lights on. It's an affront to middle-class families who can't afford to deal with more fossil fuel price volatility. And they're tired of our energy prices being manipulated by our adversaries simply because Republicans are in a mad rush to send it all abroad. Now, Republicans also claim to be tough on China. I hear this every day in the Energy and Commerce Committee. We have to be tough on China. But this bill is a gift to China. In 2021, China was the second largest recipient of American LNG, and Chinese LNG purchasers have continued to snap up any long-term deal they can from American exporters. By removing the requirement that our exports be in America's best interest, this bill would allow China and other adversaries to purchase even more of our energy to use against us. And thankfully, the Biden administration is taking a different approach, one that prioritizes the needs of the American people rather than big oil and gas. Last month, the administration announced a temporary pause on new LNG export authorizations while the Department of Energy confirms that they are in Americans' interest. This is just common sense. Before we send our energy resources abroad, it's only right that we first confirm that doing so will benefit Americans. Anyone who says this pause is a ban on LNG exports is also peddling in blatant disinformation. The temporary pause does not affect current exports and does not affect exports from facilities that are under construction. It doesn't even affect exports from facilities that haven't begun construction but are fully permitted. If the Department of Energy never approved another permit, our LNG exports are still on track to triple from now until the end of the decade, more than enough to ensure Europe gets all the gas that it needs. And I want to note how ridiculous it is to have the same Republicans who refuse to support aid for Ukraine lecture us on being good allies. House Democrats are demanding that the House vote on legislation that has now passed the Senate that would provide funding to ensure Ukraine can continue to protect its democracy from Russia's unprovoked war of aggression. In stark contrast, House Speaker Johnson is shamefully blocking this urgent national security funding, siding with pro-Putin extreme Republicans. If House Republicans want to be good allies, they should join us in demanding a vote on that critical national security funding. Now, Mr. Speaker, ensuring that LNG exports are in America's best interest is something we should all want. Instead, we're here considering a bill that does the opposite for a third time because Republicans are fresh out of ideas and resorting to bringing up old, tired bills that stand no chance of ever becoming law. Time and again, they've proven completely dysfunctional and incapable of governing. And in fact, they're making us vote on this same bill for a third time. And certainly that's testament to their inability to get things done. With nothing else to bring to the floor, they want to distract from reality that they've achieved nothing to improve the lives of the American people. This is just another Republican bill that puts polluters over people, and I therefore urge my colleagues to oppose it. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time, Mr. Speaker.